We're live.
I saw your social media post. Take it down now, boy. I said delete the comment now, boy. Now we're gonna ruffle some feathers today. We're gonna talk about an agenda that has been going on that has been used to target Black people. We're gonna talk about a couple of agendas, but we're gonna start with that one. And for those of you that know, if you say anything about the BLT agenda, and no, we're not talking about the Subway sandwich, you know what it is. You say anything online, you are going to have your account terminated. You might face repercussions at work. No telling how. You might even lose your bank account. They might take your puppy, your cat. Who knows what happened? Now they're online, even threatening to come in and take your spouse. This is what they're doing online now. So we're going to tackle that subject and the ramifications of the promise of. Well, I guess we can't call Trump sun kiss anymore because he got that tan. He got like that Hulk Hogan kind of color going on now. So he vows to dismantle the social media mafia, the rainbow mafia, and we're going to tackle that. Then we're going to get into where do we go from here in regards to us and them Negroes who just cannot seem to tear themselves away from that Democrat plantation, dagnabbit. Oh, what's wrong with you, babies? But let's go on and get into it. Drop that intro.
Greetings, Earthlings.
Warning, the following program contains strong Black first opinion about mature and strong subject matter that affects Black America and the diaspora as a whole. Listen at your own risk, you sissies.
Grand Rising All, you are listening to the one and only Be One or None. Good morning from Africatown, Los Angeles.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to me because I've been MIA. I gotta ask a question to the panel. Who in here online, maybe even in person, that has been a victim of the Rainbow Mafia as far as the censorship and that you can't say anything, can't have an opinion against them?
I have not, but I am not as relevant as you online.
Now, I've told this story before how I had my Facebook taken down a few years ago, back when Obama first started this thing. And I was asked to issue my government ID, I think my social or whatever, something like that. And I said, screw you, I'm not doing none of that. So back then, like I've said before, I exposed the partnership between the Rainbow Leadership and the NAMBLA group, for those unaware, that's North American Boy Lover Association, aka the pedophiles. So fast forward to now, we've always warned of that partnership. When we've warned that pedophilia was coming, we warned that sex trafficking was a part of this, and these adults in the rainbow side of it always, oh, this is about love between two adults, consenting adults, and da-da-da-da. But we started to notice that they never ever stood against what's now called MAPS, minor attracted persons. They never stood against that. Why? Because of that secret partnership. So as we prepare for Trump to come into office, maybe it's time to re-examine our position as Black people in America with this certain white identity group. For banning purposes, because Trump's not in office yet, I'll just keep it at the BLT agenda. You already know what it is. Rainbow Mafia, the colorful folk, you know who they are. And some of you might get offended that are listening to this, but it's facts over feelings. If you offended, I don't care one bit. So when you look at the Black aspect of this, we've gone over this before. This is a Greco-Roman practice. It's been said that this is not something that's been in any melanated culture around the world. And we've seen recently they've dispatched their Negro minions online to try to counter that and come up with these factual lies to try to claim that it always was rainbowism going on in African culture and whatnot. So they are dead set they really have a hard on with this propaganda, to the point of Scamala even flying over to the African continent to bully the African presidents into accepting the rainbow, to which she got that middle finger and told to be on her merry way. So from our perspective in this, we have to look at it as an act of war, basically, using some of our own people that are so thirsty to be white that they'll just, and I'm not meaning like putting the G on the end of your words. I mean literally to be a part of the white supremacist system, to be accepted in it, to have that comfortable position, to get that money that comes with selling your people out. We're talking about that type of wanting to be white. So when we look at it, this is literally an act of war. Now you break it down and you take it back to Margaret Sanger's original group, Eugenics Society, and then you from there you would have to cover Henry Kissinger with the NSMM2K, where he prescribed rainbowism as a way to keep our numbers down. They could keep us under control. So you add all these factors together, and you fast forward to where we are now. We've gone well. I've gone over this before. That is there really a such thing as being black and born this way? That's kind of a yes and a no question. So, literally, no, you're not normally born that way, but being biologically and chemically altered, you can be born that way, technically. What that means is this. I've covered the chemical atrazine before. Atrazine is a chemical that's been put it's a pesticide that gets sprayed on crops and whatnot. It gets into the water supply and things like that. And this chemical has been scientifically proven to alter genitalia. It's turned male frogs into female frogs. They were even able to have the male frogs have pregnancies and whatnot. So this stuff has been in the food supply for a long time. And then you got all the other things like the microwaves and all the other chemicals they don't tell us about. So when you look at the makeup of the average black community, you always see the same grocery stores, the same fast food restaurants. It's always the same cycle of places that we go dine at. And there's a reason you don't see a Trader Joe's or a Sprouts in black communities. This is by design. And I think the problem with us as a people is some of us are so in love with white supremacy, we don't want to see that. We don't want to see that plantation design. And others of us, it's so inconceivable that this could be true that we just don't want to go down that road. But this stuff is real. This is really a real thing. So if you put that together with the agenda, we know that they've successfully implemented their agendas that drew the black man out of the household, took him out of the role of father, got him into the pimp player role, the drug dealer, the game banger, all these different destructive avenues. Then they began working on the black woman. At first, they wanted to use the like the Foxy Brown type of thing, but then they started going, you know what? Let's divide them by putting the black woman in certain positions that we'll never give a black man. So they've been playing this game, this proxy war with us for a long time. So now you boil down to this, that you have the parents neutralized. Now they come for the children, and that's where we are now. So if you've had decades of these chemicals in our food chain, that's going to affect us at a certain point, and we're at that certain point right now. And they cram this propaganda down our throats 24/7. And if you question it, you can lose your livelihood. You can have your children taken away. We are at a place right now that if your child goes to school and they watch something on YouTube or an ad pops up and they go in school, go, you know what? It might be cool to be a boy or to be a girl, something that they were not born. And that's heard. The school's going to railroad that child into the psychology, the hormone therapy, and eventually the so-called change operations. And that's what we're facing today in Black America. And now this is not to denigrate anybody that's in that lifestyle or practice. Now we're talking about the agenda that is being used as a tool against us, as an act of war against us. And as Trump comes into office, he's vowed to disassemble the Rainbow Mafia and their stranglehold on things, these special rights that they were given. I mean, who in here thought that it was okay for a black woman to go into a restroom and there's a man in there with nothing on? I mean, into a what was that, a massage spa or whatever where you don't have nothing on, to go in there with a little girl and there's a full-grown man in there claiming that he's a woman. We all know as Black people that's not how we roll. Even if you are in that lifestyle, we know that's not how we roll. Where do you got? How do you guys say that we got to the point of accepting these things that we normally don't practice in our communities?
I think it's been a lot of bullying, a lot of bullying, a lot of shaming, a lot of fear mongering. If you don't accept what we're putting in your face, like you said, people are being, nobody, I don't care about being ostracized, but, people are losing their jobs because you're not a liar, because clearly you are not what you say you are. So let's just be clear about that. But then you're losing your jobs, you're losing your livelihood over pronouns. And Karen, we're being bullied, and nobody wants to say anything about that. We want to continue to be docile while these people, and I'm not just talking about a certain group of people, I'm talking about everybody disrespectful. Y'all just keep running amok, and y'all have no self-control. I don't know. What do y'all think?
I've had this experience. I've had this experience with. So when you're dealing with rainbow / transformer folk, there's this fascist attitude that they have where they feel like they're some kind of a race or something, and they're above Black people, even though they used our backs to get into these special rights and power that they have gotten for themselves. And they're backed by some very powerful figures with the small hats and white supremacy and whatnot. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that's experienced this, that they now look down on you as if they're over you, and they expect you to bow down. They expect you, when they say something, when they crack that whip, you're supposed to instantly bow down and not question anything they say. And ironically enough, I've seen this attack leveraged against, because I've said it before, and not to be offensive to the sisters, but for some reason, Black women seem to really like to support this agenda. And I've seen that where they go overtime on Black women when they don't comply with it. Like I was saying, that situation at the spa, a Black woman and her daughter were at the spa, and it was a massage parlor / spa out here in LA, and they went to the kid had to go to the bathroom, and there was a naked man in there. She files a complaint. She gets called everything but a child of God. And I don't know if they called the police on her, but she was basically asked to leave, and they took the side of the man claiming to be a woman. And it's like Black women seem to be as shocked as the Black people on that Nazi video when they were telling, bow down, ninja. They seem to be shocked that this is happening. And I think we fail to understand that this is a component of white supremacy. We fail to understand that those rainbow farms that were on the plantation, that was actually a real thing, that buck-breaking was real, and that this is a component of white supremacy at the end of the day. And those of us who throw ourselves in that agenda are operating under a white identity group, because I've seen it to where Black people who let's take Billy Porter. Do you think Billy Porter really considers himself, well, I don't know what he considers himself, but do you think he thinks of himself as Black any longer?
Hell no.
He a full-on Karen now.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell he is.
You saw it, how long it took for that response to come across.
He kissing on he kissed on Joe Biden's hand or something. I don't know what the hell. Yeah, he's worse than a coon.
Yeah, and it's like this agenda is like, they know that we as a people, we're like a loving people. We try to have peace with everybody. But I think you get to a certain point when the bullying has gone too far, and especially when it's threatening your children, you have to take a stand and say something about it. Because it's like, they can never say that we were transformer or rainbow phobic. I mean, we all know about the church boys, how they do it in the choir. This stuff has been going on forever in Black church and stuff like that. So none of it, we were never considered phobic of anything until this agenda got power. Now, how suddenly overnight we are the face of phobia?
Exactly. I'm just sick and tired of the whole thing. They trying to push the agenda on us. If you go on Instagram now, since Kamala laws, like, they really pushing that now, like that whole LGBT transgender thing. And I think a lot of black people end up voting for Trump because of that. They like, look, this is enough is enough. We're tired of this. Like this isn't what we do. And I think a lot of black people have got relaxed on the topic. I think we kind of don't want to say that because we don't want to get, saying we homophobic or we hate the LGBTQ community. I just think that people they don't care what they think right now. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not the black struggle. Your sexual preference ain't got nothing to do with black people struggle. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think a lot of people
would you say it's a Trojan horse of some sorts? Like like when you hear the pundits talking and even some of the activists now, every time we talk about reparations, somebody brings up BLT rights as if these are the same thing.
Oh yeah, Don Lemon was on his TikTok live talking that crap yesterday. He was trying to make it make sense, and it just wouldn't. He like, well, have you ever seen how many of y'all ever seen a transgender in the bathroom and all that crap? I'm like, look, dude, I don't care how you spin it. It's not right. And like you said, no, I think people like him, Lamont Hill, they good about doing that, justifying it. You know what I'm saying?
How about this? If that's how you feel, why don't y'all go ahead and get the family style bathrooms? Why don't y'all go ahead and, put money up so that everywhere you go, you can have your own little bathroom, the unisex bathrooms, where it's one stall. Why don't you do that? But they don't want to do that because you want to be seen, because you want to make a point and to make an appearance and just be doing the most. Stop it.
I mean, how can you, how can you not call that, like that scenario I just gave with the black woman? By the way, audience, that was a real scenario. Google it, look it up. How can you not call that an act of pedophilia? And then when you look around, all the rainbow community defends this stuff. Except, and I will say with some exception, when there are some black rainbow folk that ain't with that agenda, and they seem to be the only group that go, yes, that is pedophilia, and we don't stand with that.
Yeah,
but how is that not an act of pedophilia right there?
Yeah, that's sick. Like you talking about the what's that term, that acronym you use for them pedophiles?
MAPs, the minor attracted persons.
Yeah, it's funny people ain't really been talking about that for a while, but it's good you brought that up because they try to hide that, and yeah, that's crazy, man. I couldn't believe you got a lot of professors and stuff that support that. So yeah, but yeah, the black, I think the whole LGBTQ agenda is hurting the Democratic Party. They're gonna have to they're gonna have to
society.
It hurts society. I'm saying, but they know they're gonna have to get away from it because it's hurting them. People ain't with that no more. They only work for so long. And like I say, when all the black baby boomers are gone, it's pretty much a done deal. The Tamika Mallory's, them the ones that supposed trying to keep it going, but they kind of losing. They used to have a little stronghold on the younger black voters, but they not really listening to them anymore. So I don't know what they're gonna do, but they're gonna have to get away from that agenda because a lot of people, a lot of Americans, period, are tired of them pushing this stuff. Especially, I had on my Instagram. I think I posted on my Facebook. They're showing kids walking into a school and the teachers dressed up in rainbow colors and giving them books about LGBTQ, singing some kind of LGBTQ song. I'm like, what the kids? These kids are confused, man. They're like, what the hell's going on? Like,
and I think younger black people. I think the younger black people was caught. These are two things that are causing them. Younger black people are going, wait a minute. Now, when I go to school with some locks, a Malcolm X shirt, I can't walk in like they do with the rainbow thing. So what's with that? I thought we were supposed to be all friends. And they're starting to see that supremacy in that. And they're starting to see that unless you do a Billy Porter, you are not accepted by that movement. And then the second part is, like you said, the Tamika Mallory's, those people have gotten a little older. And you get into the mix of people are looking at it. If you look at it from a government standpoint, the futility in it, this group cannot and will not reproduce, no matter how they try to lie and dress it up. This group is incapable of reproduction. So at a certain point, your numbers drop. And I think a lot of that is why Massa's numbers have dropped, and he's scrambling to try to pick his numbers back up because they've been practicing this more than any other group. That's their culture, that Greco-Roman culture. And as far as us, but like politically, you would have to be a fool to keep supporting an agenda that uses your backside to give itself power and then power over you, and you get nothing out of the deal. You would have to be a fool to continue that.
Yeah. And I will say shout out to like Zoe Lee, sister up in Chicago, Chicago Red. That's the name of the organization. You know, a lot of black people trying to flip Chicago Red. And she's a LGBT. Hey, somebody got that mic hot. Y'all like feedback in the back. Yeah. She's a part of this we call Chicago Red, turn Chicago Red, and she's heavily in the LGBTQ community. But she said I'm black first. She said my sexual preference ain't got nothing to do with black people. She said I'm black first. And then we need allies like that. If you're a part of the LGBTQ community, like our brother, what's our brother back in the civil rights movement? Oh God, what's our
James Baldwin.
Jane Baldwin, but we don't have no more Jane Baldwin no more. That brother was a rider. He didn't.
He was about that business.
Exactly. He wasn't worried about. He wasn't putting none of his stuff out there. It was about his people. So you got this new generation. They on some BS. But like I said, Zoe, she's out there. They talking about the gentrification that's going on out there in Chicago. How the Democrats pretty much like booting all the black people out, and they are trying to get black people to flip. So yeah, so we do have some LGBTQ allies, but overall, you still got the other ones. Like, what's his name? Lamont Hill. Yeah, he go hard for them, man. Like this dude, he talking about transgender woman is a woman. I said, dude, are you crazy? That's a damn man. Y'all need to stop that. I don't give a damn. I'm gonna never buy into that BS, bro. You a man, you got a chromosome, like your chromosomes say you're a man, your DNA say you're a man, you don't have no uterus, no fallopian tubes, none of that stuff. You don't have a period and you don't want to have a period, so stop that crap. It's delusional, man. It's getting out of hand,
I think that delusion and trying to bully us into accepting somebody's costume party is what has turned a lot of people off from the Democrat Party. And I'll make a bold scientific prediction. If all goes as planned, Trump comes in, he gets his cabinet the way he wants. When RFK Jr. goes after the American food industry, and targets these companies that are because there's already, most black people don't know, there's already a boycott against Kellogg's right now for these chemicals that they're putting in the food. And this thing is might be looking like a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit against Kellogg.
Shit.
When RFK Jr. gets in there and he overhauls the FDA and kicks in the ban to these chemicals in American food, I'm going to make a bold prediction and say that you're going to see these numbers of this delusion and run into this agenda, whether it's the Transformer part or the Rainbow part. I think you're going to see those numbers start to drop, because when you see these chemicals taken out of the food chain, you're going to see those numbers drop.
Oh yeah. He go after the big dogs. That's never been done. Going after the pharmaceutical boy mafia. That's gonna be interesting, man. Because they were talking about all the stuff. I know we ain't trying to get away from the topic, but yeah, the RFK, man. People should have really supported him, because this guy talking about stuff that real issues, about far as the foods and how we are the most obese country, and we unhealthy and all that stuff. But yeah. When he touched on that, it's gonna be something else. Yeah, they show.
It's bad when the Kennedy family, when the Kennedys leave the Democrat Party. That's all bad.
Yeah, they're from the original Democrat Party. And yeah, I hear you. They got a video.
Queen.
Yeah, they got a video of RFK Jr. and that damn transgender that Biden got now for the health thing. The dude look like damn Grimace. That look like Grimace with some glasses. Y'all remember Grimace?
Looking like a whole clown.
Yeah, and this dude, and he up here, they're showing RFK. They show like on the other side RFK Jr. out there doing push-ups. This dude ripped up, hitting 72 years old. He ripped everything, and then you showing this other guy. They got now. I don't know what the hell he is. Man, they go.
He and her looking like soft serve with a wig on.
Yeah, they're talking about something. You can be what you want. I'm a tree, then. Damn it, I'm a tree.
That's what I'm saying. They don't even make an effort.
I'm money. Let me go in wherever I want. Touch this. That's mine. Touch this. That's mine. Because the Democratic Party is delusional. And I heard on another show, like, these people with their ideologies have just hijacked the Democratic Party. And the problem with black people or black folks, that they won't admit the truth. You want this party to be perfect, and this party has been infiltrated. It was already set up to destroy us quietly. I say the Democrats are the quiet assassinators.
Because I honestly, I never thought that I would see the day when black parents would put this party before their own children and accept pedophilia and sex trafficking and all the stuff that this party is. I never thought that I would see us sink this low. Just to be real.
What you gotta understand is that people who were like our parents, because we're older, that they're not there no more. Most of them are away, and most people done got tired of fighting. And that's what the Democratic Party wanted to do, is just wear us out. White supremacy itself, because most of the white supremacists are in the Democratic Party, and they have us so blind. I mean, I get into it with people all the time when I tell them Joe Biden wrote the crime bill. The only thing y'all say about Trump is his daddy did not rent to or discriminated some people. They put that on Trump. And then they turn around and say, oh, what about the Central Park Five? Well, what about the prosecutors that made Trump believe that they did it? It's like they just hide in plain sight, and they get us to destroy ourselves because they put a fear in us that the Democratic Party is our only hope. You see red, that means racism, and you got to be scared. So they've been playing this fear mongering, and then, as you said before, they put atrazine and all this stuff in the chemicals to go with the flow. Because now you're starting to feel a little bit funny. Your kids are feeling weird. So now they got to match
Yep.
the feelings with the agenda. And then
Yep.
a
And
mom, you're going to love your children and you don't know what to do. So now let's make it okay for you to accept your children for this non natural thing that's going on. So it's like you always say, Pablo, it's military tactics, and we don't, as black people, don't want to see it because they just like they pour into the church, their hope is into symbolism and not opening their eyes. They walk around with their eyes wide shut.
you know what it reminds me of? That something else that I think we didn't want to believe was when they started infecting black women with syphilis. I forgot what was that, the
The
50s or the
Tuskegee, the Tuskegee
50s.
experiment,
50s.
yeah.
right up there near Birmingham, where I'm from.
Yeah, I think we're in that same mindset where we just don't. Some of us are so in love with white supremacy that we just cannot fathom that they would do that massa would do this, and then some of us, it's our basic black nature. We're not a violent people by nature. Like like I've said it over and over. When you look at the pimp, we look at the game banger. All you have to do is just to give you a movie example of it. Just look at the movie Django. When you see John Candy pull onto the ranch, that's where that imagery comes from. That's not a black thing. That's where that's literally the white slave master. And we feel like power is if you can imitate him and be as him and be in his position. And when you look at the Tuskegee experiment, they have literally done the same thing to us, like I was saying, with atrazine and all these other chemicals in the food. I mean, there's no. I started saying this stuff decades ago. I said it is no coincidence that black cancer has skyrocketed, black diabetes skyrocketed, black heart attacks skyrocketed. Now black rainbowism and transgenderism skyrocketing, and it's like we are sitting ducks because, like I said, they've neutralized the parents. And now if you a single parent and you've been living off, like I gave that map on the show before, if you've been living off the microwave and these fast foods and all the stuff that's in our community, and you a single parent, sometimes you just really don't have a choice. You have to rely on it because you if you a single mom, you working two and
Facts.
three jobs, you ain't got time to come home and cut the potatoes and cook a meal from
Exactly.
scratch. You're gonna start reaching for that fast food or whatever, and
Exactly.
the chemicals in that stuff is what causes this. And I think we don't want to
We don't
admit
want to
that. We don't
take
want to face that monster.
accountability.
Yeah, we don't want to
It's
face
not
that
even
monster.
to admit it. It's like we don't want to look at, like, even like I had a young girl say today, like they were looking at their classmates, and I'm gonna go back, piggyback off of what you said. We're not violent people by nature. That's why they had to put guns in our hands so the bullets can do what they. Because if we didn't have guns, we would not. I'm not saying some people wouldn't attack people with another weapon, but it would be rare because it used to be rare when you attack somebody with a weapon, knife, bat, blunt object. They used to call that a crime of passion because
Yep.
you had to be up and close. And now they made it, well, you don't be up and close. Let's just give you guns. That's why they put guns in our neighborhood. And okay, if your soul won't let you unalive your brother, then let me go ahead and give you some drugs to make you think that is okay.
Yep.
Let me add the music to it. Let me add the music to it and stuff. And then, okay, mothers, all this is happening. Go on to the church and pray about it. And now the church has turned into a circus. So they have normalized everything, and we don't want to admit, like, the young girl was saying, like, dang, my almost all my classmates are already dead, and they're not even reaching the age 30. And then the ones that do live, they putting them behind prison, and nobody is saying, like, is this normal for all these black men to be, as you say, gay, LBGT, the Rainbow Committee? Is that normal? Nobody is stopping and saying, wait a minute, they have us so in a rush where we getting up every morning. We got to go to work. We got to take care of the kids. We got to do this. We got to pay the light bill. We so much on this monopoly board, we don't have time to breathe and sit back and look at what's going on. They keep our minds preoccupied with living in the way that they want us to live, and that's the problem. We don't have time, because if we had the money, that's why they won't give us reparations. If we had the money,
Yep.
we would sit back and we wouldn't
Yeah,
have to be
you
in this
brought up
rat
something
race.
real good. You brought something real good that I think the audience needs to know this. When we had the war on drugs, which was led by Ronald Reagan. Now remember, y'all probably, I know, I'll just say it because we don't really look into history, especially political history. Ronald Reagan, when he was a president, he was a Republican, but before that, he was a dyed-in-the-wool Dixiecrat right along Joe Biden. He was from that same era as Joe Biden before he switched parties. So this is the individual who ushered in the war on drugs, aka blaming the drugs on black men and acting like we were the Pablo Escobars. But before that, you had a Democrat president and a Democrat controlled FBI, DOJ. This is under Hoover. They are the ones who flooded the black community starting up in Oakland and the Bay Area with crack cocaine. And you look at these drugs that they flooded us with, the crack, the sherm, the heroin, these drugs were classified as what? Psychotropic drugs. Now, what does that tell you? That means that that's a mind controlling substance that they flooded our communities with. So we don't know what they put in that. This is like we don't know what they put in COVID. We don't know what all is in the COVID concoction. We don't know what they put in those psychotropic drugs that they flooded our communities with. And we got to think of it. There's a reason why you don't see this gigantic throng of black people run into this rainbow agenda. We didn't see this. We didn't see this in the 70s, in the 60s, in the 80s. And even with the violent part of it, when you look at our history, whether it's here in America or in the diaspora, a violent warlord like Shaka Zulu was an anomaly. That was not the norm for black people. So you have to ask yourself, how did we get to where we are? You can't, like, basic science teaches you something cannot come from nothing. That's basic science right there. Something can't come from nothing. Something had to alter us to get us to where we are today.
Exactly. And I want to bring up another thing with the war on drugs, with the meth. Do you know they have meth clinics when white people, Caucasians, is on meth? I remember my roommate, white girl, she would have a little lunchbox looking thing with a lock, and I was wondering what it was, and she would go to the methadone clinic, and they would give them an alternate of the meth, which is methadone, but you had to go through the classes. You come there, and they would actually give you the drug to stop that craving, but it was a different form of the drug. And to stop that craving, to stop this, they always do something for themselves. But when have you ever heard of a crack clinic? Like you said, it's mind
Never.
altering. They never did anything to stop it. They did what they want. They wanted to accomplish what they accomplished. Because I have family that has been on crack, and when you say the war on drugs, I've seen it myself. I'm from Bronx, New York. I remember the Bronx burning. I remember when we played in the building. I distinctly have the picture in my head like it was just yesterday, when I was wondering what all these piles of these little plastic containers with the red tops, they were just poured in our building. We were playing with them, and we were like, "Hey, guys up there." Nobody knew how did black
Step it
people
in the
know to come
matrix.
and get these little. Who made the little crack vials? Who made the little crack vials with the red top on it? And
Man,
Same thing they did
our
here.
people didn't just start doing that.
Same thing
yeah.
they did here. I distinctly
Exactly.
remember as a kid when gangbanging was in full swing,
And
but I
these are
distinctly remember
democratic
as a
run
kid.
cities. These are democratic run cities.
Exactly.
Yeah. Facts.
And I distinctly remember as a kid, in the Watts area, ironically is where we started to stand up against the original gang of Los Angeles. They were called the Spook Hunters, which was a white was like a the neo-Nazi gang before we had neo-Nazis. They were like Klansmen / neo-Nazis. They were the original gang in Los
And
Angeles,
the
along with law
skinheads.
enforcement.
What did
Yeah,
y'all have the skinheads?
no, they were called the spook hunters. So basically, they were, like people that look
Damn.
like where were they, like the greasers, like people that what's that movie with John Travolta? The one where he's like what the
Was
heck's
he
the
with
name
a
of that
leather
movie?
Grease,
jacket
right?
and they wear
About Grease?
Yeah,
makeup?
Grease.
Grease. Yeah,
Yeah.
Grease. So basically,
Yeah,
they
they
were
wear the leather
greasers, but they
jacket.
were like Klansmen basically, and they were a white gang called the Spook Hunters. And the only thing that separated them and the black community was in Watts was the train tracks. So they would come over the train tracks, and what it was is a lot of these young men's uncles and fathers were in law enforcement. So they had two gangs working at once. So that's what caused us to stand up and buck back to them. And that's where the gang thing actually really started at. So those very same train tracks, I remember distinctly when I was a kid that Santa Fe, Pacific, wherever they would, the train cars would be left on the tracks. And normally the doors were left open or however it went. But in those train cars were weapons, and these were military weapons. We talking about Uzis, AK-47, because we all seen the classic black films, and if you old enough to remember, back in the black community in the 70s, the worst thing you can have was a 6-shot pistol or a rifle. That was about as far as we went.
Exactly.
Suddenly, you started
Exactly.
seeing gangbangers riding around with Uzis and all these military weapons, and we're like, where is this stuff coming? And I'd even not heard stories, but I'd even personally known people that said, yeah, we got grenades off of those train cars. And I said, that's not something that was done by accident. That's done on purpose.
Wow.
And you mix that, and we talking about in the middle of the crack era.
You're in the Matrix, Tina.
That's how I know, man. Because can you hear me?
Yeah, you're in the Matrix. Yeah, choppy, little choppy.
Yeah, shit went Optimus Prime.
The feds got you. Yeah, they got you. Yeah. So are we touching on are we on the social media part? Not social media Nazism?
Yeah, let's swing to that.
Okay, let's get into the social media part, y'all.
Am I still in the Matrix?
You sound a bit better, yeah. Yeah, you sound a bit better. We're going to the social media.
Maxine Waters ran to Congress because she admitted that guns and stuff was dropped in California. But now when she's in there, she's not saying anything about it. You got the paperwork. Everybody knows this to be true, that the government did it. And then primarily the Democrats. I like my point.
Yeah. So we get into the other section of the social media. How you pronounce that, Pablo?
So social media Nazism.
Gotcha. So what made you come up with that term?
If you because I'm a history at it. So if you've studied history, and not to go down that show we did before down the rabbit hole with it, but if you studied history, you know why Mein Kampf happened. You know why Hit did what Hit did to the Jooby Dooby Doos. So you know why he did what he did and what they were doing in this country that led to him having that final solution. So that goes into now. Those same tactics are being used on social media. This ties in with the BLT agenda. This ties in with the extreme leftist branch of the Democrat Party that is now controlling the party. This is the same branch that basically derailed Bernie Sanders. Because I thought Bernie Sanders would have been a reasonably good candidate as far as the Democrat Party. I think he was probably their last good candidate, and they screwed him because he's an independent and he wasn't on that hardcore left stuff. So the social media Nazism is basically the same thing that happened during World War II, which is they control information with an iron fist.
Yeah. So yeah, the whole propaganda thing. Yeah, the actual Russians came up with the whole propaganda thing first. It's a documentary about that. Actually, Putin is on the KGB and all them. They're the one they created it, and then America kind of adopted it. And so that's what we get now.
And I think if we look at the effects of it, we all know that when you go on social media, you could talk about anything under the sun, including pornography, except for being pro-black. Just ask Farrakhan about it. The second you say something pro-black, you were instantly shot down on social media. And then I don't think as a people, I don't think we understand the power in having the ability to do that, the power and the ability to control information. We have a proverb, we have an Kabulonian proverb that says, a people that fails to own and control its own media by default dooms itself to the propaganda of other people.
Damn, that's deep. Yeah, that's real, man. So social media, we know social media was the worst thing that ever came out. It have its good points, but like I said, when it comes down to like politics and stuff like that, I think the first election with the 2020, well, not the first election, but the one before this one, I think a lot of people was really listening to social media. Let's be honest, nobody listens to the regular news anymore, the news media. Everybody listen to
Nope.
YouTube, the
Sorry,
podcast,
Swollen.
and people like that. Exactly. The new black media, that's who they listen to. They don't listen to the, the Roland Martins and the Fox News. Actually, the ratings are going down. You know that, right? They actually CNN going to be, I think they're going to be like laying people off because they're not getting the ratings. More people listen to the podcasters now than they are listening to the people on CNN, Fox, and places like that. So we know that was going to happen. It was bound to happen anyway. Especially like in the new black media, black people, they listen to people like us, even though we're not big as like Phil Scott and all them, but still people listen to people like us, and
Why
they
would you?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you say that Scamala's campaign paid Swollen Martin's media company $350,000? Because
I heard about
I
that.
think they know. I think they know that the jig is up as far as the Swollen Martins and these people,
Yeah,
and people would rather go listen to Jason Black and whatnot. But
exactly.
why would they be? Why would they still invest in a Roland Martin at this point?
Yeah, I mean Roland Martin, he's pretty much at the end of his rope, and he's about the only one they think they can probably touch the younger people, but he's not really speaking for the younger generation. Like they don't listen to
No.
Roland Martin. You know what I'm saying? Like he's more for the, he's like the end of that what's his name? Tom Joyner crowd. Like he's like right up under them. So he's about to be obsolete. And
So he's part of like the tail end of the Good Trouble era.
exactly the good trouble, group of people. The black folk get so sensitive about that. Let's be real. I mean, no disrespect. I mean, I know the elder is made his transition, but him and others, they didn't really do anything for black people. Like, name me something that, yeah, yeah.
What they call them old
Ninjas. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna say ninjas. I'm like, because we know that they was okay. It was effective in their time, like our parents, like the 60s and stuff. I talked to my dad about it. It's like civil rights. That was y'all thing. It was accomplished, but was it really the best thing? Because Dr. Clark Anderson and hell, Dr. Clark Anderson's almost 90 years old, and amongst other black scholars, they say that now Judge Joe Brown, he bet the differ. He said that integration actually helped us a little bit because we got more access to certain things. I get what he's saying on that, but still, we was more together. We had more black businesses and stuff, and we were more dependent on ourselves than being dependent on the government. And that's the problem now. I think we too dependent on the government. I mean, it's nothing wrong with getting certain assistance, but you don't want to get too relaxed either. I mean, we're not the only ones that get assistance, but I'm talking about black people. I'm not worrying about everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So I think that whole movement is dead. It's a new day, and now the Democratic Party gonna have to realize they're gonna have to go back in, like I said, hit the reset button and figure something out. Cause right now, what I'm looking at, bro, the AP people, they're doing the Trump dance now. I just looked at it on TikTok, like they're doing the Trump dance. On football teams doing the Trump dance. The college students are doing the Trump dance.
I have seen, even though they did a strong social media propaganda campaign, I've seen black people get to and this is how bullying is taking place, like we were saying earlier. They've gotten to the point, I don't care what people think. If I have a MAGA hat on, I'm gonna do what I do. I just don't care no more. They've said it so much, I don't care. It's like when you whip it, you can only whip a slave so many times before they numb to it.
Exactly. Look, bro, you ain't never seen so many black people wearing a MAGA hat. And your boy Charleston White, y'all saw him. Oh, this dude was draped in the whole. This dude had Trump socks,
He's
Trump
MAGA
shirt,
flagging.
pants, had the blanket, had
I,
the
I
poster.
started to get me one, but I wasn't cheering on the Republican Party because
Exactly.
my only thing was I'm just glad that the Democratic Party finally got the loss that I was praying for 3 years ago. That's what
Exactly.
You know,
it broke a
she
lot of us.
she brought
Shout
up
out to
It
everybody
broke
in
a
the
lot of
chat,
the
y'all. Shout
scales,
out
but I
to,
just don't want us to trot over there to the Republican Party because now
yeah,
is the time to hit them in the guts. If the Republican Party you ain't acting right now, you see that black people will
exactly.
move together. So the
Yeah.
next phase is us moving to that third party.
Exactly, because
I
like I
want
said,
to hit
black
y'all with
people,
two.
we're gonna hold them accountable just like the Democrats. Like if you don't do
Yep,
anything, we're gonna move on to the next one. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's about for everybody thinking that all black people are going to the red side. And not. A lot of black people actually set this thing out, but a lot of them are gonna go back to the Republican Party like we was before. Like it's just a cycle
and
repeat
Frederick
itself.
Douglass.
Exactly. What I told people, read the
It
book.
depends on what Trump do. Everybody sitting back watching because
Yeah.
there's a lot of black people. I don't care what they say. A lot of black people who ain't saying nothing
Mm-hmm.
voted for Trump. Like somebody
They
said,
did.
Yep, you know they
Beyonce and
did.
all them was up there getting that money, but they
Yeah.
He
telling us
probably
to vote blue, but
voted
they
for
Hey,
wanting
Trump
to
too.
vote red.
I truly believe this, and I'm live right here on TikTok. I'm gonna say it. I really believe that your boy Joe Biden voted for him secretly, even though
Oh,
he
they
doing that
He
stuff.
said
probably, he
his
probably said,
wife did. They said his wife distinctly wore a red
Yeah.
dress when she went to put her vote in. Like they like she wore a whole red dress. Was she trying to say something? And then she been
I,
pissed at the party ever since.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I got to hit y'all with two whammies. So these are two factors. Now that we're talking about the social media part, so we know they instantly took the social media in their pride and taking that L because we, for all intents and purposes, Trump slaughtered Kamala Harris. That was a slaughter. And I was on the phone with one of the pastors earlier, and we made a joke. I said, Jamal Bryant put the Christians out of his church because they said they didn't want to support abortion and the rainbow. He called the police on them, had them escorted out, brings Kamala into the pulpit and anoints her for the presidency and declares that she got it. And then she goes on, weeping may endure for a night, but joy come up in the morning. And so God said, you want to weep? Well, I got you. So,
And she
he
Damn,
pulled the
wept
rug.
all night. You better
He
thank
pulled-
you remember.
you gotta think of you, man.
God said, I got you. So do y'all think that the smoke and mirrors of social media and regular media have been, the smoke is blown off, and that's why they rush to try to make us think in our political ignorance that those exit polls they try to cite keeps I mean, how can I put it? Two things can't be true at the same time. Those same numbers that they claim put Joe Biden in the White House can't be the same numbers when you see Kamala Harris.
You in the matrix. You in
There's
the
no
matrix.
way that many black people came out. There's no way that many black people came out and supported Kamala Harris based
Oh
on those
no.
exit polls. And when you look at those exit polls, they are conducted by CNBC, MSNBC, CNN, the same people that are in bed
And
with the
they
Democrat
losing
Party. So
all
there's
they
no
lost
way.
50% of their ratings.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Hold on. Shout out to
and
everybody in the
and
chat. We see y'all in
amazingly,
the chat.
a fun fact here in California, we're looking at 10 counties and still counting that are flipped to red in California.
Yeah. Hey,
Like
hold
you
on.
said,
And that's
social
like, I
media,
think
Louis,
they're
that's
trying to
historic.
browbeat. They know it was more
hey,
black
hey,
people that voted. They're trying to browbeat us. If you look at Sunny hosted, I'm so sick
exactly.
of her on The View. They're saying
Yeah.
they're trying to push
She ain't
the
even black.
propaganda, the agenda that no, people didn't vote for Kamala because she was a woman, when everybody knows everybody voted for Hillary and she was a woman and a white woman at that.
Exactly.
So it's
Hey,
like
we
they are so mad that they're trying to, if they can whip us, they'll whip us. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Because if we go back, black folks wasn't probably voting Democrat because they wanted to, because white people had a power over us back then when they got the Democratic Party. So you wanted to please massa. So now they mad and they're trying to embarrass anybody who black who voted for Trump. And they're doing this
Yeah.
agenda and trying to make you feel bad. And every time you turn around, women rights. What rights were they taking? The right for you to use abortion for birth control?
Yeah. Exactly.
I got
Hey,
I got to hit
Lewis and
y'all
Fam
with a
TV,
trivia question.
we're gonna touch on the Russian thing at the end. Lewis Fam TV. We're gonna touch on that.
Oh yeah,
We
Biden
got
trying to
to
take
cover it.
us out. He said he can't live in America. Ain't nobody
Yeah.
there. My bad, gang.
Yeah. We got that on
I
the
got I
end.
got
Yeah.
a I got a trivia question for y'all before we get to Biden's attempt at World War III. Now,
Hey,
bing,
got
bing,
another one.
bing,
Go ahead.
bing. What was
You
the
got
one thing that
you got
the
one?
good trouble Black
Yeah,
people always said every time an election came, if you don't vote for the Democrat, what was the
yeah,
one thing they always said?
like your life depends on it.
Vote blue no matter who, or you ain't
Yeah,
black if you don't
and you
vote
gotta vote
for.
like your life depends on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
y'all getting close.
Okay. You lost me on that one, then.
I'm so used to vote blue no matter who.
Yeah, that and vote like your
This
life.
I
Your
know
ancestors
we
died.
all
Your
black.
ancestors died. Your
We
right to
all black,
vote.
and I know we've heard this one before in our lifetimes. Boy, you better go on down there and vote for them, and you're gonna be in trouble. They're gonna take everything from you if you don't put
Exactly.
the
They put
Democrat
you
mouse
back in
on there.
chain. They're gonna put y'all back in chains.
Yeah, you gonna lose it all if you
Exactly.
don't go vote for the Democrat. Now, let's fast forward to what just happened to this camel blowout, because I know for sure. I can just say I know for sure they're lying about how many black people voted for Kamala. I know a lot of us voted for Trump. This is the facts, or third party. So what shot them in the foot now is that saying, vote for them and you're gonna lose everything. You can't say that anymore now that we have literally seen you give everybody from the rainbow to the Asian to the immigrant coming over. We are sleeping on the street in tents, and we see you giving them EBT cards. We see you giving them house loans. We see you putting them up in hotels and apartments. So you no longer have that incentive to go vote for them, and you're gonna lose everything. That's
Yeah,
gone now. It's over with. And these young people, they see that.
exactly.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then what they're trying to do is fearmonger. Oh, y'all think prices are high now? Look at this, and then they turn around. Oh, inflation went down, prices going down. In what universe? Because when I go to the store, the prices is the same way, and nobody had a complaint when the prices was going up when Kamala and Biden was in office. So it's like the Democratic Party had a heart attack. They were like, whoa, they grabbed their chest when they found out black folks voted for Trump.
yeah,
When you at the point that going to Walmart and shopping for groceries costs you the same amount as going to Trader Joe's or Sprouts, you already know it's all bad.
oh, game over, man. And nobody don't really want to admit it. But yeah, they don't want to admit it. But yeah, say off TikTok, okay, it's my bro. Yeah, that's you, okay, bro. But yeah, but, hey, man, eggs cost like $15, like for with a 30 pack. Like that's crazy to me. Like I ain't never seen it's like that in
Like
my life.
eggs are going that one
And
thing
gas
I
going back
say
up
that
too.
this yeah, one thing I can say this black and white people now this is the only time out of everything we stuck together. It wasn't nothing about white folks looking at each other, black folks looking at white folks.
Yeah,
Everybody went to the poll because everybody know that this is just not right.
yeah,
We agreed on one thing. We don't want our children running around being pumped full of chemicals
yeah.
and being told that they could be girls and boys when they the opposite gender. We don't want
Exactly.
our
You
we see
mean
them giving
you
out
mean y'all
money
didn't want
left and right.
tampons in the boys' bathrooms? What's wrong with y'all?
Exactly. Like
Y'all are
it
some
was
bigots
just
if
the
you don't
thought of
want.
it. Where you gonna put that tampon?
Exactly. That's sick,
And
man.
why is it in the boys' bathroom,
That
in a child's bathroom? Like, what are you doing? We already trying to say prevent teenage pregnancy. So
yeah.
you saying it's okay to, it's just a thought, the imagination that the
If y'all,
people had to have. The
if y'all want a
people,
glimpse into the lunacy of the Democrat Party, I don't know if they're doing it in y'all where y'all at, but here in California, here in LA, all the school districts, all the I think it might be statewide. Every billboard when you go to a school is talking about the damage that marijuana has on children. They got, oh, just wait till you're an adult. It damages your brain, this and that. Well, weren't you the same people that just legalized this thing?
Exactly.
exactly. I think they just passed a law here in Florida that you can grow some at least three or something plants in your house. Because if we use marijuana, we don't use crack and meth and all the other drugs they want us to use. And
Fact.
then if we grow our own, you can't keep putting us in jail and pulling us over to arrest us for having a little bag of weed or something in the car. So the Democratic Party, if black people don't know nothing, look at who has the stronghold on you and who has been destroying the black lives since they
You
claim
know,
Black Lives Matter.
you know what thing I trying to be funny with, but one thing. Now, black folk. You know, I'm not a weed smoker, but you know what happens when you smoke weed? What's gonna happen? It's gonna mellow you out. It's gonna slow things down. You're gonna start thinking about
A
stuff,
loud smell.
philosophizing. And now let's just picture it. You a black teenager, and you thought, I really think being a woman is great. I get to have all kind of rights and do stuff that normal black people can't do. But then you get high. You know what? Maybe I don't want to go have my stones removed.
Exactly. What they
go.
won't do is interview a lot of the. They won't interview a lot of people who have had their stones removed or their plugs pulled out.
Man, look, man, look, we
I mean,
playing
but it's a
God.
lot of them that is regretting these surgeries,
Yeah, so,
and they
yeah.
walking around with chunks of their arm missing and chunks of their thigh missing,
Mhm.
so that they can form a what you call it. And it's just like it's the devil. It's the spirit
Yeah.
of illusion. When they
It's a
said the devil fell from heaven, that was the Democratic Party.
yeah.
And he
Like,
landed right in California. I bet.
and let me tell you, you ever see those I know we gotta go to, so we got to go to fake black versus YD. But before we get on that, them jokers be tripping me out when they show them videos when they be in public, and they'll start hollering people's face, like them LGBTQ people. I'm like, they holler my damn face if you want to, for no damn reason, screaming in my face, all up in
You can
my
get these boots and these hands. I'm sorry.
exactly. I don't give a damn about it. Man, please. That fantasy world you living in,
I,
it's not
I, I,
real.
I, I, I swear for God, I cannot understand the mindset of the black person that stands there and lets these people, these rainbow folk, these people of color people stand there and tell you that these struggles, and they're not even struggles, it's just like a fight for doing what they want to do, compares to what we've gone through in this country and with this country. I cannot, that type of black person, I don't think, I just can't, I can't, just give them one-way tickets to the chocolate Titanic. There's no need even, there's nothing there.
Exactly.
Bloopity bloop bloop.
So Pablo, what's that? Fake black versus YDY? Well, that's the next topic. What's that
Fake,
about?
fake black folk versus mighty whitey.
Oh,
Now this is the part. This is the part where we segue from the social media Nazism to now people like we're talking about Tamika Mallory and all these people that were fake black activists. Now you've gotten to the point to where masks have been taken off. Now we all know what happened with reparations here in California, that the black Democrats got the order from the top, which means it came from Kamala herself and from DNC to unalive reparations here in California, which is a bullet that hits all the reparation movements around the country, because a lot of them, we're all connected in most cases and running the same program. So that order from Kamala to unalive reparations has some serious repercussions. And I remember a black woman up in Sacramento, when it happened, said this is going to cost Kamala in that election. And that's why they rushed to put those exit polls out, because they knew it. So what that means is the Democrat Party also has this thing, which you see classic on the plantation. Once you've served your purpose and they no longer need you, you get the whip cracked on you. And these type of Negroes are always shocked when they get the whip. Master, what you talking about? I've been keeping these ninjas in line. What you doing? What's going on? They get shocked. And that's what we see going on here. So now these fake black activists, basically I'll just say these black Democrats who were on board with unaliving reparations, because in their minds, white acceptance, white position, white approval is the reparations that they want. They don't want that check like we do. That's what they want, is white approval and position under Massa's boot. So now that mask has been taken off after these moves they made, now they see themselves in a precarious position because they didn't take themselves on Zoom calls, put millions on it, and they still lost. And so now their bid to make themselves relevant in the face of the phase out, that shows you how crazy they are. Biden came in office telling you, you best get used to bowing down to a brown middleman that's going to rule over you, because that's who we've chosen to put above you now. You best get used to bowing down to the rainbow. You best get used to bowing down to the Asian. So they went and raised millions for Kamala. All the AKAs, all the other groups all got on that
Excuse me,
Zoom
don't mean
call.
to cut you off. Don't mean to cut you off. They raised billions. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, they raised all that money, and the black churches included in that, because they went on and added in their millions. So they tried. What's going on? Why we're saying fake black versus white now? Now there's going to be a Democrat Party civil war, because now those Negroes that we know have sold us out, they're in a tough spot right now. So what are they going to do? Because we are no longer rocking with them.
And I want to say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're right. And I want to say this. We talked about this earlier. I was on another live talking about, like, all these black people came together for this one day or 2 days, and all these million dollars for Kamala. but y'all can't build your own super PACs before then. Like we should have been doing stuff like
Exactly.
that. Buying our politicians like that, Clark Anderson taught us, but we ain't trying to do that. You know what I'm saying? We just want to keep relying on these people, and you gonna see what's gonna happen. You keep relying on the system. Like my plane.
I mean, you mean to tell me, because a majority of that Black women group that raised that first $1 million for Kamala on that Sunday, a lot of that was the AKA crowd. Just gonna be real about it. It was the AKA crowd and the Black celebrities and the chocolate church females. They raised all that money, and these same Black women will ride down the street and see their own people living in tents, and they know what's going on. They know we are in tents because we have a low FICO score. We're in tents because we can't come up with a security deposit. We're in tents because mama loved her son enough, knew he had a criminal record, and had him in the house anyway, and it costed her a Section 8 voucher. They know this is what's going on, and they said, "Oh well, as long as I got what I got under the white man, I don't care." And so now
we would have been better off paying their tithes and offering outside of paying Kamala Harris. They should have paid their tithes and offering.
Yeah, exactly.
Make a way out of no way, because
and they ain't getting no refunds because she gave all that to what's her name to go twerking in front of the world, so they ain't getting no refund.
Pablo, I want to ask you this because you wasn't in the other show. I don't think you were on when I played it. Did you see the Asian woman who said that they were guaranteed that Kamala was going to win, and now they're asking for their money back? Like, what? How can you guarantee a president?
Yeah,
And what were
because
you going to get from them?
they were going off of
What was the plan?
yeah, they were going
Well,
off those analytics, and they guaranteed them. Yeah, we know she gonna win. She got this.
But
And
my
it's like,
point is this: what were they paying for? What were they going to get? Even if she won, what were they going to get from it?
shoot, they were paying for the Asian agenda. So like, look at it like this. This is one of the things they were paying for. Here in LA, they are running Black people out of here left and right for the 2028 Olympics. This is going to be a multi-billion-dollar move for the city of Inglewood, the city of LA, California, period, to have the Olympics here. So they have literally wiped out scores of Black people and put us on the street or run us out of the state altogether. And so what they're doing is groups like that Asian woman most likely belongs to, when you look at it, look at the math of who owns land and property in the city of Los Angeles itself. Korean and Chinese businessmen are now the majority in that. And then the Juby Dooby Doos. So those are the three groups that own the most property and land here. And of course, Massa is always on top. But the Korean and the Chinese businessmen, they own a lot. So when you see, and I've said this to Black people billions of times, politics is a business transaction. It's not a popularity contest. When you hear an Asian woman talking about, we gave this candidate $10 million, what you are hearing is a business transaction. That Asian woman is saying, we purchased her services at $10 million for her to execute our agenda and put law behind it to make it legal, is what they're paying for.
Yep, and I want you to remember this. Do you remember the article that came out before remember we talked about how the Asian people had their own police department here, but up in New
Yep.
York, and that they were using that to get citizens here, and I think it was when Trump was in office, and a law was passed where they couldn't use their police department to go after people, the Chinese people that were already here in America, and that's probably another thing that they were dependent on. Control their
Yeah,
people.
they pay. So Black people audience, if you don't leave this show with anything, leave the show with this. Politics, again, is not a popularity contest. It's not a plea for mercy from Massa to get a little mercy from Massa. This is a business. These people are paying. That's what PACs and super PACs are for. These people are paying millions of dollars. These corporations are paying millions of dollars. There's a protest against Kellogg's right now for the cancer causing and gender dysphoria causing chemicals in these foods. The reason why they're able to do that, because they purchased the services of congressmen, senators, aldermen, all these people to ram these favorable laws for their agenda through and get it legalized. That's why they're able to do that. So if you really want the real math on why we're in political insolvency, because we have no political representation, aka we are not playing the game. We are in a game of chess trying to play shoots and ladders for free. Is why we're in political insolvency. And my question in this segment of the show, for us here and for the audience, those of us who fought for reparations, I ain't trying to toot a horn or say nothing, but I told you this years ago when we first started, back when Marianne Williamson took up the pledge to run on reparations. I told you this then. Are you so loyal to the Democrat Party that you are not willing to sit down with a Republican majority and do a bipartisan negotiation to get reparations? How deep, as Keith Sweat once said, how deep is your love? What are you willing to do to get us out of the predicament that we're in? Are you willing to sit down and negotiate with Trump and the red majority that's coming in January? Or are we going to wait another 4 years to see if another Democrat wins and go back to begging them for it? What are we going to do?
I think yeah, you're right. I think that's pretty much over. I think you're not, black people not gonna go back, especially so we primaries come up 2 years later. So let's see how the primaries go and see them people gonna retain them seats, because right now it was a red wave. They got the House, the Senate, that got all the swing states, the judges. So right now, if Trump play it right, man, he can do something good. But we'll see. You know what I'm saying? Like,
He
but like I
made a
say,
statement. I don't know if y'all believe him or not. He made a statement. He said when
what's
he
up, Brother Tradition?
laid that thing about the platinum plan, he said, we are going to promise you if you commit to voting Republican for the next 4 years, that we are going to take care of you. We're going to right a lot of the stuff that you've been saying that you've been done wrong on. Do y'all think he's going to, if we do that he would actually live up to that?
I ain't
I
hear that.
believe he's trying to, because what nobody is talking about is Trump is going after the deep state. Now we complain about atrazine and all this stuff. Trump is going after Pfizer. He's going after deep state. Deep state involves the people who make it their business to make our lives miserable.
Yeah.
So when you clean up the real white problem, it might be a chance for us. I mean, he's not. He's basically not trying to be funny, doing what Kamala said. Well, he ain't doing something that's going to only benefit black people, but he does have a plan for us.
Do you think that all these groups, and some of them I'm a member of, I'm speaking from the inside. I ain't gonna name the name of the groups because they'll probably get in the he motions and she motions. Do you think that these black groups are going to come to the realization that they are going to have to sit down and talk business with Republicans moving forward, unless we just going, I don't know how much further we can sink in the next 4 years? Do you think that eventually the love affair of the Democrat Party is going to wear off and they're going to accept reality and go, okay, let's go on. We're going to have that sit down.
I mean, it shouldn't even be up for discussion, because all of these people, work for us. So regardless of which side you want to rock with, you all still work for all of us. So for you to have a temper tantrum and act like you don't have to sit down and make things work on the behalf of the people is just sheer ignorance. And it's wrong.
Right.
So yes, they need to do that. They're not going to, no. And as long as they have these clowns, The View and them and such the types that keep fueling these fires, they don't have to sit down, because they continue to cause division, with the faces of foolishness, okay, in America, to where nobody's going to demand that. Nobody's going to say, like we just said, like, hey, y'all need to figure this out because it worked. But no, we just going to keep playing these back and forth games and not holding anybody accountable. So I don't see them growing up and acting like they have a job to do. I don't see that at all.
I
Well,
don't know if I told y'all about.
Even the black people, because they have put this seed in the black people head. Trump is racist. He's this and that. So everybody black that could go and talk to him, because one lady on Fox, or one of them, they were like, if black people would get together and talk to Trump, he'll talk to any group. He'll talk to anybody. I mean, he
Yep.
lived. He been in our community. He's been around black people all through. Every black star we know, Trump knows. Just like he said when he was gonna run, Oprah was supposed to run with him and be his vice president. Then yet they
Right.
planted this seed in the head that and he called her out, and I'm glad he called her out, because they want black people to be mad that Kamala didn't win, so that you won't do business with Trump, so that these black organizations won't sit down, because we got this thing. They want the black people to do what the black people usually do. Oh, you you
Mhm.
this, you that, you with that white man. Why would you do that? And then you could see it all over social media, like you were saying. They want, because if we was go sit down with Trump, next thing you know, why y'all with that white man? Blah blah blah. But
Exactly.
Joe Biden, y'all was okay with Joe Biden, who put you in prison and put half of our community in prison over mess. So
And you
they,
know,
when they planted the seed like the monkeys, they want us to beat each other up instead of going to the table like everybody else and getting what everybody else is getting. Get some food off the Trump table.
now, yeah, and you know, to that point, I had the audience to show you give you insight into what we are dealing with here as far as the Democrat Party, especially Black Democrats who have taken that money to sell us out. Now, I'm gonna drop his name. We had this exchange on Instagram with Isaac Bryan, one of the ringleaders that betrayed us in reparations and unalived the movement. He's the one who stood on the
Call them
floor and
out.
had the
Is
face.
the line already drawn? Call them out.
Yep, Isaac Bryan, Assemblyman Isaac Bryan, here in LA. He is literally the one you see in the video with that Arab Republican, and the Republican goes like, "Well, bring the bill up. I'm going to vote for it." He I don't believe in reparations, but I'm gonna vote for it. And they had that little exchange on the floor of the Senate in California. Now, and this is what happened in that exchange. I don't know if I ever explained it on the show. Our groups went up there because we were promised that the California Black Caucus had reparations on deck. We was gonna get the bills bought up. It was gonna be voted on and go to the governor's desk. The order came from the top long before we even got up there, that Kamala and the DNC wanted to unalive reparations, and Gavin Newsom wanted to unalive it. So that order came from the top. They didn't tell none of. They let our activists go up there to Sacramento, thinking we had a W coming. We up there in the state capitol, and they wouldn't let the Black activists on the Senate floor. Nobody knew why. What happened was the Black Democrats had already known ahead of time. Gavin Newsom knew ahead of time that it was unalived, and they were not going to bring it up for a vote. They were going to sit it. They were going to shelf it until it's called inactive, which means they didn't have to have the blood on their hands. So what they did was they called the state police on the Black people and said that they were making threats and whatnot at the state capitol, which is why they wouldn't let them on the Senate floor. AKA, they had the police already on deck for when the news came down what they were really in there doing. So they didn't count on that lone Arab Republican driving the issue and screaming on the floor and making the issue of it, which is how. And then one of his people started recording, and we got the Judas Isaac Bryan on tape, on film, betraying us. So he had the audacity to come to the Africa town hall and talk to the people, which I was shocked he actually did, to his credit. And he got confronted about that. And so it might have been about a month later, me and him had an exchange on Instagram, and I said, let's basically let's stop the BS. And you know what you did. You know that we know, and we also know that you've gone into these meetings and you have a lot of non-Black support, aka people like that Asian woman that we spoke about a moment ago have already put money in your pocket, and you don't see a lot of Black people at these meetings that he has for his district. So he already knew that if he lost the whole Black vote, he had all these other people that had already given him money that were going to vote for him. So he didn't really need us at that point. And he knew that. And he was willing to die on that hill. He was willing to say, I'll get this money, and if I lose the election, at least I got paid. And that's what he stuck to. So I told him on Instagram, I said, now, you come down to Africa Town, you throw this Christmas event every year, you give out free turkeys and hams, you put artificial snow in the park for the kids and all this. And I said, those are band-aids. I said, what that is, basically what that is giving people a blunt and some fried chicken while they're on the deck of the Titanic and they've already hit the iceberg. And I said, well, that's a band-aid, and you know it. I said, that's not the real work that needs to be done. And I said, if you was really interested in the work, you would get your behind onto these petitions. We got like the Black LA 911 petition, the Legalize Africa Town petition, because I said, that 911 request is basically asking for things that we wanted out of reparations to stabilize ourselves until we can get in the position to either get housing and get the stuff we need, or either get enough money to leave the state, period. And then I said, also, that we are the only group in California that does not have its own economic zone. There, you got Chinatown, you got Koreatown, but you don't have an Africa Town, and you know it. And I said, and that's why you won't sign those petitions, because you know that if you get on board with something like that, all these other people that have given you money are going to back away from you, and you're gonna and you ain't gonna get that money, basically. So we had that exchange, and guess what he does? He deletes the entire conversation, deletes all the comments. And that black people, that is what we are dealing with these black Democrat politicians that stand and play in our face, promise us all this black stuff. And that's the difference there. The difference between us and a black Democrat is a black Democrat. If you've ever seen that video about the bourgeoisie, the boule from the original Africa town when it was called Lemert Park out here, if you ever seen that video, they sat in that video and pledged and came up with ways to keep lower class black people from coming into that community to infringe upon their white position. These people are not us. They are not like us. They don't want the same thing as we do. They don't want freedom. They want to be white, meaning that they want to be a part of the white system and have power over other black people just to have that position. We are two different groups. And you have to keep in mind that if you are not willing to organize and put your money where your mouth is, like those AKAs and all those other church folk did for Kamala, if you're not willing to put your money where your mouth is, where we are now is what we're going to keep getting into, and our situation is going to unbelievably get worse than it is now.
Facts. So let's go into the last one, y'all. Let's go to
most of these people who want to be like that, all they see for us, like Sonny Holston and all them on the View, they're crying because the Latino community has just been piggybacking off of the suffering as black people, saying they suffer like us when they weren't. I didn't see them being lynched and unalive like us, but now that black people are having a voice, we are no longer letting them use us as shark bait, because that's what the Asian community, the Latino community, everybody wants us to be the lower class. I think a lady on the Fox show Sonny Holston even said it. Black people are the lowest struggling people in here. She was talking so fast, she said it. So how did we become the lowest and the Latinos is above us? Because we shark bait for everybody else. As long as we don't speak up for ourselves and don't have no representation, they can continue to get rich off of our suffering.
So true.
That's the facts.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna land our plane on old slave trader Joe. What he's done.
Everybody been talking about all day. The World War III, possibly, hope not, because that'll be ugly for everybody. Nuclear war won't be good for nobody. We know why he did. We know why that old fossil did that, because he wanted to, hopefully, you go to war, the sitting president can stay in power, so that's one theory. But I guess he trying to do what he's gonna do. I guess he already promised Zelensky this stuff already in Ukraine. I think he already promised. I think that they were gonna do it anyway. It was just hoping that your girl would have got in to finish the deed, but since she's not gonna get in, they gotta speed up the process. But people are pissed. People all on the line. Everybody all across the internet talking about, look, they're telling Ukraine, like, look, American people we're not rocking with this guy. They basically said we ain't with this. So I'm gonna see how the thing gonna go, man. It's dangerous, it's crazy. And nobody's not really joining the military either. That's another thing. So I'm like,
thanks to the Rainbow Agenda, our military is in the tank.
So
that's one of the factors people probably won't talk about in this conversation about this World War III possibility.
Yeah,
war is profitable for certain people like Biden. War is profitable for Biden. War is profitable for Netanyahu. War is profitable for Kamala Harris. There's a page on Instagram that goes into detail about the truth what's going on in Israel with the Jewish people and what the IDF is really doing. And on this page, the name kept coming up. I think his name is Blinken or something like that. He's part of Biden's cabinet. And I forgot the name of the other two guys, but one of them, he was in position under Bush. I think maybe the second Bush. He ended up getting fired, or however it happened, between the transition from Obama to Trump. Somewhere in that era, he got let go. Biden put him back in position. So he's one of the top 3 warlords that is in bed with Israel and with Ukraine, and keeping these wars going. And for them, Farrakhan once had this statement where he said, loosely paraphrasing, how wicked is it to play games with people's lives and the lives of their children for your war games so you can put money in your pocket? And that's basically what Biden is doing. I'm not too sure he's doing it for the aspect or possibility of staying in the White House longer. I think he's doing it simply for the profit, because when you look at how in debt Kamala Harris is, they owe a lot of people.
Yeah, and then some people and some kids, civilians did get unalive when they did them strikes too. And a lot of people don't know North Korea sending troops over to help Russia. And y'all already know we don't want that. We don't want to deal with North Korea or China. So it's slowly but slowly happening. You know what I'm saying? So that's something to look out on, bro, because yeah, man. He made it. I think they asked him why he did it. He got some shades on. Probably don't remember his name, but you know, they trying to be all cool and stuff, man. Dude, you pretty much messed up your legacy for some BS like this, you know. And people, the American people, American people gonna go against it. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to go to war, brother. Russia got more nukes than us. I mean, yeah, we got nukes and stuff, but that's a fact. North Korea got the biggest army, because pretty much if you there, you know, to make money, you got to join the military. So you don't want to go there. We ain't been in no real war in a long time. We don't know
But
how we
didn't Biden already give Ukraine the go ahead? Didn't they already launch
yeah,
the missile?
they did shot. Yeah, they lost them today, I think, or yesterday. Yeah. So
And then Russia was smarter than the U.S. That's why the U.S. came up with they the first country to land a man on the moon, because Russia was ahead in technology. They was the first person to land a man-made object on the moon. So of course, the U.S. ran by white men are always jealous and always have to outdo or try to outdo something or somebody instead of working with people. America has white men that have ruled us, and they're white women, and they don't work with anybody. They don't give anybody accolades for what they do. They take over, steal, or lie about history. Russia, of course, they could reach us. Korea could reach us. America has been ruling the world through fear mongering.
Looking at, if you've been on, to tie all this in together with the social media fascist Nazism and all of it, the BLT agenda, when you look at social media and you see all these countless videos of United States servicemen transgender and twerking and all this stuff, acting feminine, and when you just think of the possibility, and that's a lot of the reason people voted for Trump too, when you think of the possibility of that in the army, plus a Kamala Harris at the head of the army with the cackling versus those fierce Korean and Russian troops, people like, heck no, we ain't going to like we don't want no parts of that. And in reality, can you really blame them? Because these people ain't playing. This is the bottom line. These people they ain't playing. We playing, but they not. And I think to bring this down to us in Black America, excluding the Black Democrats, for those of us in Black America, what this boils down to for you is all the things that we've been talking about repeatedly on this program, and that is Black man, Black woman, you best to stop falling for the Democrat propaganda, the white supremacist propaganda, having these silly gender wars, having these diaspora wars, because if this goes where Biden is trying to take it, you're going to quickly find out and have to take a forced crash course on we all we got.
It's really already happening. They just don't want to admit that it's already happening.
If you have not taken heed to our warnings and messages about learn how to farm, learn to start growing food at your own house, learn to stop these silly divisions, stop this game banging, stop this drug use, stop this twerking, stop this running around being a whole grown man talking about you think you want to be a woman suddenly out of the clear blue. If you think it's time to keep playing those games, what we might possibly be facing, then welcome to the food chain is all I can say, because you're gonna be food.
You ain't lying, but like I said, bug out bass, all that, man. Black people, get yourself in shape, start learn how to hey man, learn how to live off the land, because you never know what's gonna happen. We don't know what's gonna happen. And we gonna be at the bottom when all this thing pop off and stuff. You see all these movies, these end of the world apocalypse type movies. A lot of time they put it out there, let you know, prepare yourself. Because remember, the CDC actually had a what is zombie preparedness thing. It been like talking about
this is real.
It was like a scenario if if ever the world ends and what to do and what not to do. They had it a couple years ago here in Atlanta. I was like, damn, that's crazy. And people kind of
they really have trained for this thing around the world. This is for y'all that are not in LA, I gotta ask y'all this question. Now, in the gyms out here, when you go to the gym, I know not all Spanish people are Mexican, but I'm just gonna say Mexican for purpose sake. When you go into the gym now, literally you could count the black people on one hand in the gym, and we don't even really speak to each other. But I'll notice when you go in there, Mexican people are in there training like they training for a war. The men, they lock the weight benches up. They keep crews going back and forth. They help each other stay on the bench. Like even the older men, they'll be in there working out. The teenagers get out of school and they'll be in there holding the bench for them. They'll work out until the teenagers come and they keep the process going. And we be in there looking at each other like, dang, can we get in? And I was like, we really have lost it. We really are not prepared to survive. And this is on purpose. We've allowed them to put us in a very, very weak and bad position. And that's why nobody respects us.
And I want you to picture this. I know what you're talking about because where I'm from here, you don't see no Mexicans using Lyft or Uber. They got their own taxis. They have their
Yep.
own delivery centers. They have their own bus systems that travel across the United States so they don't have to interact with nobody. And they're left alone. They have their own language. We're shark bait. We're put out there so that we can shop from everybody else. These Asians, these Latinos are promised that they can have a life. The Latinos are not complaining except for Sunny because now that all of them that's been coming over having children and getting the free ride on the American citizenship, that's what's going. But they have their own of everything, and they're becoming more and more bold with it. So I'm glad Trump is putting them in their place with a lot of stuff because you are right. We weakened. How think about this? How the Democrats to me there are a party who have ties to other countries why they tell us that is Trump. Because how can you want the majority of your men wearing dresses saying they women and your women saying they men? What happens when we go to war?
Exactly. Exactly.
One thing with it is this. This is something we started doing. I did this yesterday. Yeah, I did this yesterday. Took a teenager out to Chinatown here in LA. We went on down there, and I had to confront the fact of a lot of young black adults have this thing to where talking about black empowerment, talking about black power, talking about being pro-black and doing for ourselves we all we got. They're going, that's racist. Blah, blah, blah. And I go, how do you figure that us saying that it's time for us to do for ourselves and stop being lending our backs to everyone else for their agenda is racist? So they give me the definition of racism. Well, you putting black people before other people, and I so I broke it down. I said, that's Democrat propaganda that you are rifling off to me. You were telling me Democrat propaganda. I said, let's hop in the truck. I'm gonna go show you some real racism. So we go on down to Chinatown, and I said, look around you. Do you see anything in English? They start looking around. We go to the Buddhist temple down there. Start looking around. Yeah, everything's in this weird language. I said, exactly. I said, that is power. That is racism right there. They don't put that in a language that you can understand because they're telling you this is ours. We own this. We got our own banks, and you are not necessarily. It's a polite way of saying you ain't welcome here. This is our area. This is our power.
Just like white people
I
show
said,
it by having money. Because when you look at it, they have us set up. We don't have that stuff. So where do we get our money? They leave us no choice but to join the military, and we're fighting the country so that everybody can have what they have, and we have nothing but, like you said, they living off our backs because the majority of black people don't have communities like them. The majority of black people are joining the military.
yep. And now look at the dichotomy of this. Look at the economic impact of this. There's a reason why the guy I mentioned earlier, Isaac Bryan, there's a reason why he won't stand and put his neck on the line to legalize an Africa town, because he knows that if you allow an Africa town and is able to compete with a Chinatown or a Koreatown or a little Bangladesh, all these other different areas, and is seen as a tourist destination, that's a black economic zone, and we're going to do a black Wall Street and build from that. And they don't want us to do that. they get the advantage of keeping us in our position. So just like we talked about earlier with the drugs and the guns being dropped off in our community, when gang banging started and we were incentivized here in LA to turn on ourselves and start killing each other, gang bangers wore a certain uniform, and it was popularized by gangster rap music, starting with Easy. Well, it was around before Easy and them, but it was popularized by Ice-T and Easy, and it's a uniform for this street war. And we all know what it was. It was the Dickie suits. So who do you think were the people in these swap meets selling black people all the stuff they needed for the uniform? The Dickie suits, the house shoes, the bandanas, the t-shirts. Where were we going? We were going to Korean swap meets. They literally put generations through college
That's
off of our
crazy.
dime.
That's crazy. You're right.
While we out here
If you look
killing and
at it,
slaughtering each
Pablo,
other.
you don't see none of them. You don't see the Asian people. There's some in the military, but you don't see a bunch of Asian people joining the military. You don't see a bunch of
Nope.
Latinos joining the military. They sit back and let us fight alongside white people because, like I said, they have convinced black people to allow white people to attach themselves to our hip where we don't want our own culture because we say, well, we part of America. They have their language, they have everything. They're not worried about it. We fighting for the country. Our people are filling the prisons and they're just living their lives off of our struggle. And everybody's okay with it.
You're like I think, I don't know if y'all know about this outside of California. Now I'll say it in like easy details, so it's not like compromising in any way. If you came over that border and you happen to be Latino, not even Mexican, when you come over here, you quickly absorb into the Mexican system because they're the ones that are running things on the street here in California. And inside the Mexican system, they have empowerment. If you go to prison, one of the first things you're gonna find out is you better bow down to the M in there. And one of the things they do is they enforce culture. You are forced to speak the Aztec language, which is Nahuatl. You are forced to do that. You have to do that. You have to learn that language. And it's like we as a people, for some reason, we are like deathly afraid of organization and independence and freedom. We don't have that same blood running through us as the people who built Black Wall Street. Because today, you bring a Black Wall Street, the first thing black people, we can't do that. We can't do that. We ain't got the money for that. We don't even believe we can do it no more.
That's because they done taught us to fight easy. And it requires too many brain cells to learn another language. It requires emotion. It requires you to respect your brother and sisters like a human being. We are acting in a white supremacy mentality. That's why we won't do it. It's easy to put together a nonprofit and give out turkeys and yell racism, but there's no actions behind it. Like you're saying,
Nope.
everything you're saying, Pablo, is true. We need to do it, but it's hard to do it because we're not used to. So we get the comfortable. Oh, I fight back. I help my community, giving turkeys, yelling slurs, telling it, speaking what we say on our mind is not helping us. Now it's time for action.
You're so
I
right.
mean, how did y'all feel? I had to ask this question because it's been all over social media too. How did y'all feel about these Negroes acting so shocked and beside themselves at the Nazis marching down the street, yelling, "Bow down, ninja!" Saying what they saying? How are these people acting like they ain't never heard of racism before?
Well, I think right now people are thinking that these things don't occur anymore. And clearly they do.
I really think that. They said, I was watching something, and I'm sorry I can't remember who I was watching on YouTube, but they were talking about how they were giving out bullwhips somewhere to the homeless people, to the white homeless people, allegedly in the streets. So who's walking around giving bullwhips to homeless white people to do what? What don't you find? And so if that is the case, okay, if that's the story, I didn't see it. But if that's the story, how can you be in an uproar? I can't be in an uproar about that because I have to think to myself, you are homeless. Your hate has probably got you here.
Next. I don't know what we're doing here. I don't know what we're doing. You know, so I think when we see the Nazi situation, I mean, it's just what I think it's definitely been provoked. I was doing some research the other day, and I was looking at with everybody calling Trump, you know, a Nazi and Hitler, you know, all these different things. I got to thinking to myself, I was like, let me go back and look at Operation Paperclip. Let me go back and see the 16,000 Nazi Germans that they brought over here to the United States and infiltrated them into our government. And I thought, let me go and look and see who their offspring is. And here's the thing, when you look on Wikipedia, and I know it's not always a credible source, that's where I was. I just wanted to see what was going on. It was late at night. So I'm looking at this, and you don't see, they'll say like Van Braun, whatever his name is, whatever Van Braun, which is like one of the top guys from the Nazi party that helped kind of do NASA and whatever. But like they'll say like 3 children or 2 children. They don't say their children's names. I found a couple of them where it showed that they have offspring that are in government elected positions, and you know, are taught excuse me, let me take that back. High ranking positions that are tied with government entities. Okay. So when you think about that and you're calling somebody a Nazi, you have to remember that this government let known Nazis into this country and put them in high positions, and they're still in high positions.
This is what I don't
care about no clowns in robes.
Me neither. What I don't get, it wasn't the Nazis that was coming after us. It was the KKKs that was bothering black people. So when I seen it, I made a comment. I said, are we the Jews? I mean, why am I offended? Because now I put on the KKK hood. That's where I was confused. You know what I'm saying? You see how they play symbolism and games with us?
See,
I didn't know that
the part
walked
about
up
it is
and
the
down
history.
the block. What'd you say?
The part about it is the history. When we talk about the Black Democrats and the Democrat hierarchy, how they have all these different groups and white identity groups for Black people. If you go down the historical path, trace the Black Democrat females altar of abortion, trace it back where it came from. It came from Margaret Sanger, Planned Parenthood. But what was that before it was Planned Parenthood? I said it earlier. It was called the Eugenics Society. The Eugenics Society was a collaboration between the United States government and the Nazi German government before we got drug into the war at Pearl Harbor. They were already in collusion with each other. And so fast forward today, for them to try to use that propaganda, Nazis walking down the street. Well, these is your people, ain't there? These are your original abortion friends, ain't there?
And like I said, they are in government. That's why they pass laws. Because I never understood how come the United States are paying them reparations if it happened in Germany.
And then
exactly.
the part on the video that I just it was kind of it was disgusting. Why you got a mask on? Take the mask off. And I'm like, Negro, it's called guerrilla warfare. They're telling you this is a war. Now, it doesn't matter if Kamala might have paid them for all we know to do that march, but I said, Negro, how soft are you that you don't understand that we are in an active war? Literally, we are in a war.
Them Nazis wasn't nothing but some Democrats that were mad Trump lost, and they done went and ironed them things on their shirts and went under the mask and marched down the street. That's all that was, because they want to keep trying. Because if you see the propaganda that's pushed everywhere, oh, y'all gonna regret Trump. What they're really saying is that they don't want to say black people had the power, like you were saying earlier, that voted for Trump. They want to say they pandered to us. Kamala spent $1 billion pandering to black people. She didn't pander to the Latinos. She didn't pander to the Asians. They spent $1 billion with $20 million in the hole to pander to black people. And then everybody was mad. Oh, y'all black men, y'all black. brung out old Obama and Michelle and all the whips and chains to make us vote. And then they turn around and say, well, 80% of the people vote, black people voted. They don't want for Kamala. They don't want us to know the black power that we really have.
Exactly,
So
and you tie this into what we're talking about here with the with Biden's moves to start a World War III conflict. Now, just audience, just do the research. Who has this country always used as the? I mean, you go to the Civil War. Who did the South use as the frontline sacrificial lambs? It wasn't they people.
Whatever.
exactly, the
You
Democrats
didn't see
ran on
Jonathan
water.
Winters. You didn't
The
see Jonathan
Democrats run
Winters
on
and
water.
his family out there. They put us on the front line.
Yep.
They took us off the
Exactly.
plantation and put us in uniforms and put us on the front line. And in some cases, you didn't even get a uniform. You just got given a gun and a pitchfork. Go, Negro, go do that. And they
And
still
think
doing the same
about it.
thing today.
Trump want to punish countries because he's saying you're going to get tax breaks for American made goods. Why are everybody, oh, they're going to be tariffs, they're going to be tariffs? Why the hell are we getting chicken and all that stuff from China anyway? We can make our own clothes. Give us the opportunity.
Hello.
Give us our stuff.
Hello.
The stuff they're saying makes no sense. Well, with all that stuff from China is going. So you really believe you got to get your stuff from China? Why? The whole point is to make it back in America, to make it here so you can have jobs, fools, so that you can
And,
do this.
and you know, and
Women rights, what
the
rights
crazy
you
part,
want?
tie the warfare together, saying that Biden does get his wish and starts this conflict. Now let's look at the tariff situation. We are the weakest people in this country. First off, because of our diet, we are destroying our bodies with the diet. Now let's take one thing, because we know Negroes love Chinese fast food in every black community. We love that Chinese fast food. Now think about this: those grocery stores and those fast food Chinese restaurants, they're getting their garlic from where? China. What does China do? China literally soaks its garlic in what will be swimming pool water with the chlorine and all that to give it the white color. And you don't think that's an act of war for them to send a contaminated food supply to a group, to a country that they consider hostile? That's an act of
That's
war.
Look at that. She learns something new every day. Look at that. Crazy.
Facts.
I mean,
That's
we were
insane.
so this is so sick. This is true story. I was over in what it's a part of LA, but they call it Rosewood or whatever. There was a Chinese fast food restaurant there. Had a long line of black people. Band pulls up. Oh, we gotta close the restaurant down. I wasn't eating at the restaurant. I was just in the parking lot on the phone because I didn't want to get a ticket for texting. So I'm sitting there, watch this van pull
He
up.
was at
He
the
goes in
Diddy
there.
party. He just didn't go past the. Yeah.
So this
He
guy
was
pulls
at
up,
the.
and they didn't. And mind you, they didn't do this in the back. This is right in the front door. This guy pulls up, gets out, goes in, talks, comes out, and then he puts on his little suit. And I said, "That's a dang exterminator." And so they closed the restaurant down. 1 hour, this guy in there and sprays, and I
The
said, "I'm gonna
Matrix.
sit here and see this through." They literally sat there and waited for that process to be over and went right back in there and started ordering food and eating out of that restaurant.
Oh
And
my.
Not
I said,
surprised.
"How sick have we become?"
Oh my.
I
what
got
about the Timu
I got to
wings
have
that's
massive
breaking
fried
people
rat
out
today.
and stuff?
I got to
What are
Like
have
you
the
that.
say,
I
Timu
got
King?
to
wings
have
and
that egg
stuff.
fried rat.
Yeah, like the Timu wigs. Our parents used to make our own clothes. We laugh at each other for making our own clothes or wearing something that is not designer label, but we'll eat Sheen and Timu up buying they cheap stuff that's
Yes.
chemicals.
That their children have made.
That's what black people are, man. Oh, the tariffs. Well, just like go back to when all the chicken plants were burning up and the egg factories and the chicken factories. And then I found out when I looked up some stuff, I think I Googled it, we were getting a lot of our chickens were being shipped from China. Why? Why do I have to get my chickens from China? Why
Chickens or
can't
mice?
we have black farmers here and we get our own stuff? So I'm glad. I hope Trump clean house because it's time to wake some black people up and those that's not woke up. The line been drawing. We got the black folks that want to be there, and we got us that want to separate and have our own party and look out for our own interests like everybody else is. America, before they got rid of the so-called Indians, everything was tribes. There were different tribes, different groups of people. We're gonna have different tribes of black people and everything, but we don't see it. We don't want to have our own tribe. We want to blend in because I ain't seen a tribe of white folks yet. They just kind of mimic themselves with every group that they find, and they got us acting that way.
Unfortunately, everybody's not gonna make it. We ended on that note.
Absolutely. Queen Lynn, are you there, Queen Lynn? Did you want to say something before we go? I haven't heard your lovely voice. You all make sure you go follow Queen Lynn, aka Black Love 17 on YouTube. She has just the loveliest voice, and she just dropping truth and knowledge, and she's so soft spoken, but she's so mighty in her words. So you all check her out. Also, D Mays had an awesome conversation last night on TikTok. So you guys go check out Mind Games Uncut and listen to that conversation. You all know Queen Tina Berry be dropping all kinds of truth. So y'all follow Straight No Chaser with the Queen Tina Berry. Kathy B has awesome insight as far as growing your foods. We're talking about living off the land. You all want to check out what the United Empress has going on, but you definitely want to check out Queen Kathy B 606 on YouTube. Pablo Nap, y'all check out Nap on Instagram. He's always dropping information with the Black community and what's going on. And of course, follow me at Clearest Conscious Podcast. But more importantly, we want you to go over to United Empires of Akibalan and just we're building up stuff. We're all busy, as you all are busy, but we want to make sure that we stay connected with you all. So we get to see when people pop up on the website throughout the day, and we get a lot of traffic over there. But we don't always know who it is. It'll say visitor this, visitor that. So make sure you guys go over there, subscribe for free, and just say hey, so that way when you come in, we can see you, we can connect, and we can continue to have these conversations. Really quick before we go, the Lewis Fam TV, I think when I put up the post, I didn't see it, but you had requested to come up and have a conversation. I don't know if you're still here now, but make sure you connect with us, and maybe we can all get together and do that, so we don't want to ignore anybody in the chat. We really appreciate you all engaging with us. So I didn't want to ignore that. So yeah, go ahead.
Make sure y'all do I forgot we didn't do it. We don't say this, but make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. When y'all,
do we have to tell you? Do we have to tell you?
Yeah, the likes, they get the algorithm going, y'all. With them likes is everything. So every time we get on, make sure y'all share to you, Facebook, whatever platform you're on, and everybody know that we are in the building and we out.
Yes.
Be
careful.
Blessings.
Peace.
Yes. Peace.